These are the stories that have defined the Open era. Roland Garros and Andre Agassi had a long history together. In 1988, at 18 years old, he made a splashy debut, a fresh face, and a bold game, perfectly suited for the Terra Batu. But following that fantastic beginning, there came a new chapter, Agassi and agony. Favored to win the 1990 final, Agassi was upset by the veteran Andres Gomez. 12 months later, even more pain, a 5-set loss to his one-time Bollettieri Academy rival, Jim Courier. Though Agassi triumphed at the other 3 majors, Roland Garros remained frustrating. Court Philippe Chatrier wounding Agassi so much that he dubbed it the Dragon. By 1999, Agassi was no longer the precocious prodigy. At 29 years old, suffering a shoulder injury, he nearly didn't play at Roland Garros.
Agassi, the number 13 seed, has never won the French Open.
2 points from defeat in the second round versus Arnaud Clement, Agassi escaped. Then in the round of 16 versus defending champion Carlos Moya, Agassi went down, a set and 2 breaks. But yet again, another Houdini act. His opponent in the finals was named Andrei Medvedev. And though this was Medvedev's first Grand Slam singles, he started off with exceptional confidence, handily taking the first 2 sets. Deep in the third, the biggest point of Agassi's life. At 4-all, down 30-40, saved with a delicate volley.
Boy, that was a great volley.
Agassi went on to take the third, the fourth, and in the fifth, finally, deliverance.
A heroic effort by Agassi. He went deep inside to come from 2 sets down.
The Dragon, slain. Agassi had become only the 5th man to have won all 4 majors.
I never dreamed I'd be back here after so many years. I'm really proud right now.
No more agony. This time, the Agassi and the ecstasy.
Of course, Andre had been to a couple of French Open finals before, almost a decade earlier, losing both of those. Now he's almost 30 years old. Would this be his last chance to complete the slam? Paul, did you get a sense that at this stage of his career, the French crowd was pulling for Andre in a way that maybe they hadn't before?
Oh, absolutely. Remember, the young Andre Agassi was the irreverent Andre Agassi. And although he was beloved around the world, at times the Parisians didn't gravitate towards him early on, more of a historical kind of a group of folks that were watching there. But the older Andre got, the more he became beloved to everybody. And the interesting thing to me, Brett, is he had to get the monkey off of his back with the loss to Jim Courier and Andres Gomez. 2 matches in finals at Roland Garros. We all thought he was going to win. And then he's playing Andre Medvedev. So then you really think he's going to win. And he gets down 2 sets to love, saved a tremendous break point at 4-all in the third. And then the greatness shined after that. But for me, it's always a thrill to watch him play, and for him to finish and win and make that a career Grand Slam for him was truly something well-deserved.
Yeah, and there's not many players that we can think of that have had such transformation during the course of their careers, and where we saw it, how he came out there initially just bombastic and in your face, and how he grew, how he gained the appreciation for the sport and for those special moments that players kind of dream of. It was wonderful to see that transformation in Agassi, particularly having dropped down into the 140s to get his ranking back up and then be rewarded with that French Open, getting that career Grand Slam. It was incredible. I remember watching those moments, and it just gave you even more of an appreciation for him, for his game, and for how hard he worked to get to those moments in his career.
Paul, you obviously coached against Andre in all sorts of big situations. What made him so tough to game plan against?
Well, I think he's, if not the greatest, one of the top 2 or 3 greatest ball strikers in the history of the game. And Pete used to say to me, he's the one guy that I can play well and still lose. He can take the racket out of your hand. If Pete missed serve targets by literally 4 inches, the ball would come back with so much interest that Pete would be totally struggling to stay in rallies. So Andre Agassi had weapons off of both sides. He was the master at turning the match into a chess match. He made you run and took your legs out from underneath you. But boy, I miss those days. One of my favorite players in the history to watch.
First man to complete the career Grand Slam since Laver in '62.